Welcome to GenCon 2015. I was just talking to Steve that I started this presentation, I believe, in 2006. And I remember the room was some room in I think in the Hyatt, which is like several blocks away. We couldn't find the room. And when we finally got it, there was about, I think, maybe 12 people. And so today I'm just humbled and so appreciative of everyone who wants to come and hear me talk a little bit. Thank you for coming, guys. So, you know, at this presentation, who's been here before? Awesome. So at this presentation, I try to give some insights into FFG. I try to give a little bit of a nuance to some different topics. I talk about the new products. I talk about some even unreleased products, and I have some for you, some of those for you today. I also take questions, and I'm happy to answer any question, however hard it may be, about what we're doing, what our plans are. But just a warning, I can't speak about anything we haven't announced today. So questions about plans for the future, those things I reserve for future in-flight reports. Otherwise, I would have no excitement to generate. But it's a very special year for us this year because we are 20 years old this year. 20 years old. Wow. And we have been able to exist for these 20 years because we were born by you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this thing that we love. Wow. So, over the last year, I thought, what could I talk about on my 20th anniversary in-flight report? And I thought it'd be fun to take you guys through a quick visual tour of 20 years. What I think some people know, but many don't, is that Fantasy Flight Games is actually a trade name for a company called Fantasy Flight Publishing. And in Fantasy Flight Publishing, I started in 1995 because I had this idea that we could publish European comic books. And so we got the rights from a number of comic book companies in France, and we thought this was going to be fantastic. I was hoping to talk to a crowd just like you guys at San Diego Comic-Con one day. Because I loved comics. My hobby was games. But so we started with the comics, and we did the Lucky Luke comics in '95, and a little bit later we did a few other comics. But this was a very, very challenging year. So we were basically starving. It didn't really work. It did teach us how to print, how to make a print production. It taught us how to do plates and use the software. And so one day I'm like, oh, we're starving. We're almost dead. But I have this idea for a game. And I think we can make it because I've learned how to do this print production. And so in 1997, we scraped together whatever little resources that we had in order to make this game right here, which has become a very important game for us. I remember going to the comic book conventions with my car loaded with boxes of these comics and going there and selling maybe 2 comics or 3. And it was sort of depressing. These were great products, but it didn't work. So I didn't have any real anticipation that Twilight Imperium would be much different. Hopefully it would be better. So we filled our little station wagon up with it, and we drove to Origins, and we sold the whole carload the first day. And we were like, oh boy, no more comics. we found a different thing to do. And so since that day, really, since that Origins, 1997, we've been on a mission to try to make the best games we possibly know how to do. And so that story continued. It was a rough couple of years because even making games is not that easy, especially back then. We made some big board games, Battle Mist, Thunder's Edge, Twilight Imperium, but it wasn't really until we came up with this little game called Disc Wars in 1999 that we really had what you could call a hit. It was this really cool little game with flipping discs, and you could make armies of them, and it really sort of brought us to the idea here that you can make something innovative, something different, and you could be rewarded for it. And that was an important lesson for us. And by the way, this little blue bar, what it is, I actually went back and got the revenue number for every year. And this little bar is kind of giving you a sense of what's happening on the sales front. So then in 2000, we had another big breakthrough in the sense that the Disc Wars had given us a little bit of resources. We could hire, we think we're up to 3 people at the point. And I happened to get in contact with some people that had the Lord of the Rings license. and I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. It's probably the thing that's nearest and dearest to my geek heart. And the chance to publish a Lord of the Rings product was just unbelievably great. I mean, I could have stopped right there and been happy. But we got that game, which is just terrific for us because it opened a lot of doors. And obviously, I believed in this property, and there were some movies that came out about a year and a half later, which of course blew Lord of the Rings back into the public conscious in a major way. At about that same time, I don't know if you guys remember, 2001 was very short. 2001, we actually got into the role-playing business. We had been dabbling in the Call of Cthulhu role-playing business throughout, because that's another category that's really near to my heart. And in 2001, we were able to get on board with the D&D 3rd edition D20 bandwagon. Do you remember D20? Anybody here remember D20? All right, that was a big deal. That was a very big deal. At GenCon in 2001, that was huge. That was the cat's meow. And so we got into role-playing, and we have been able to keep that department open ever since, and I'm really proud of the work that we've grown in that department over the years. We started doing small board games and card games, taking the resources that we would get from the Disc Wars or from Lord of the Rings, and we started diversifying and tried to find kind of a rhythm in what we were doing. And so we had Citadels in 2002, and then Game of Thrones is kind of interesting because we had Lord of the Rings, and we were thinking, well, you know, we have a Lord of the Rings game, which is a great literary property. There must be some other great books out there that people will want to buy a game on. And so there are a lot of books we're bandied about. We even looked at Dune would be great, right? But Dune rights were not available. And one guy in my office, Brian Wood, was like, I really like this book, Game of Thrones. It's really cool. You should read it. And I'm like, I never heard of it. Don't want to do it. And then one of my other friends from England, who's here in the room today, came over for GenCon in 2001, I believe. And I was looking over. He was driving from Minneapolis down to at that time Milwaukee, I think. And I was looking over. What was he reading? He was reading Game of Thrones. So the gods were telling me something, and maybe I should take it seriously. So I went back and read it. And obviously, hopefully you guys will all have or will read it. And so we got a hold of George Martin, who's a great guy. We were his first licensee, and we were just going to do a great job with this awesome series of books. And obviously, you all know what happened in the last couple of years. It's been an unbelievable ride. Very, very grateful, very humbled that we were able to get into this property so early and really make a difference. One thing that it's a good story about Game of Thrones, actually, is that when we had the card game actually came out first in 2002. We were going out to retailers and saying, hey, this is this great card game. You should carry this card game. And they're like, we never heard of this book. Why should we get this card game? We have all these other card games and TV shows, and why should we carry that? So what we did, we had a deal with Bantam, where we actually bought, I think, 2,000 novels, and we wrapped the rules of the card game around the novels, and we sent them to every retailer in the country. So we like to think that we have a little bit of a role in getting that book into the public. Because obviously, when we released the board game a year later, it became something. Even in our industry, Game of Thrones started taking on a meaning, and George's rise obviously has been phenomenal since then. So then we get into 2004. We started getting into some of the bigger board games and meatier board games. We were doing role-playing games, but I remember when I played role-playing games, when somebody didn't show up, we would always be like, Joe didn't show up. Let's play Talisman. Or let's play something else. And so the idea that you could make games that told stories, that had a role-playing experience, really began to grow in our minds, and it started becoming into our DNA. And we had a game like Runebound, which is a game that we were very fond of, that it came out, and it really made a difference to us. We started understanding how to make these things. We started understanding what kind of quality of components that we needed to put in games to make them click. We get in 2005. That's 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we got into 2005, and there are many formative years. I would say 99 with Disc Wars was the year we were almost dead. It saved us. Twilight Imperium was an important year. But 2005 was the year that probably is most important in our DNA today. This was the year where we released Twilight Imperium 3rd edition. About 2 months later, we released Arkham Horror. About 5 months after that, we released Descent, Journeys in the Dark. And 1 month after that, we released a World of Warcraft board game. All in 1 year. As we released those games and we saw the reaction to them, we sort of had figured it out. This is what we wanted to do. This is the style and type and grit of game that we wanted to do, and we were very proud of everything we had accomplished. Obviously, over the years, we learned how can we do it even better, how can we make it more engaging, how can we get even more people to get into these games. But 2005 was one of the most important years, certainly in our company's history. Into 2006, we had lots of stuff. For example, we re-released Drakon again, which was just re-released last month. But ultimately, that year was about making expansions, and pushing those big games we had released in 2005. Then we're getting into 2007. We followed up on the success of the World of Warcraft board game with StarCraft, and we had several other products. And just around that time, we started having discussions with our friends at Games Workshop, because we had been working with them over a couple of years to bring back a couple of great board games, such as Fury of Dracula. And we started talking to them about maybe being a more close partner with them. And so in 2008, the year that we launched the LCG model, we actually made a fantastic agreement with Games Workshop to be their key partner for board games and card games and role-playing games. And while I can't show every product, on here, I can tell you that the Games Workshop products was a very significant factor for us over this next couple of years. We're very grateful for them for their partnership. 2008 LCGs come out, which is a model that we're really excited about. We continue to be excited about. And so in 2009, we started releasing a lot of these Games Workshop products. We supported the Warhammer 40K role-playing line. And so when you think about it, now we're doing 40K role-playing that had its roots in small Call of Cthulhu adventures and D20 skills that we had acquired all the way back 5 or 6 years earlier. And in 2010, was a year where we keep releasing these big board games, figuring out how to really hone in on what we want to do. But the business keeps growing, we keep adding people. As we add people, we start getting into some of the complexities of running a business. And that's something that we're continually learning, we'll probably always be learning, where you get into stuff with lots of staff, and how do you communicate with everyone in the offices, how do you coordinate many different complex projects. But we move on to 2011. There's a big spike in 2011 as the LCG model really takes hold. We released the Lord of the Rings Lcg, which is one of the most successful products that we still have in our lineup. And then in 2012, Star Wars comes along. Okay, this was an incredible year. So I would say the formative years, 2005 was important, but 2012, who was here 2012? I mean, this was crazy, okay? We had at the show, we released X-Wing and we released Netrunner. And that has been one of the most amazing experiences and daunting experiences, because we simply did not have enough product. For Netrunner, for example, we brought more product to GenCon than we've ever brought before, but we were taken to task over how little that was. We had a guy, that night, we had to have a guy drive down, stuff his station wagon full of Netrunners, and drive overnight from Minneapolis here, just so we could have a little bit more for all those people that really wanted it. It was a crazy time. Then we get in 2013, business is really hopping, we're really supporting X-Wing, Netrunner, we're releasing games like Eldritch Horror, and so that brings us to 2014. And here we are, more Star Wars, everything is growing, everything is crazy. We released Imperial Assault, which is just last December, which is our biggest release in the history of the company. And here we are today. We're releasing Xcom earlier this year, which to me is a very special product, because it's the first game we're really trying to think outside the box and add a digital element to the game. And that's where we are now here today, 2015. So, pretty nice, huh? Woo! Thank you. So, thank you for having the patience to listen to my little story. So, let's talk about today. Let's talk about the last year. So, over the last year, we had a lot of exceptional things happen. For example, this is a big one. We merged with the great game group called Asmodee. Why did we do that? I wonder. First of all, what it does, there was a vision that Asmodee sold me, and I believed in, is that we want to be a truly great international games company. There's a lot of big toy companies out there, but none of them focus on the greatest toy of all, games. We want to be there, we want to be a great part of that. When you grow a business and you see that line go up and up and up, there's a lot of responsibilities that come to a CEO and to the management and to everyone involved. We have a lot of responsibility to you, our customers. We have responsibilities to our staff members and to our stakeholders. And one of the things when you're at that point that you're wondering, how do we keep doing all this great stuff? How can we keep it up? How can we stay around? And one of the ways to do that is to diversify. You say, well, we should start making beach balls and blow up dice and other, diversify into party games and kids games and so on. But you know what, Fantasy Flight's not very good at that. That's not really what we're about. We had slowly discovered who we're really about, and we actually wanted to stay FFG and make those games that we really believed in. But in order to really grow and to grow the careers and the livelihoods of the people that work for us, we have to find a way to keep that up. And so what we could do with an Asmodee merger is actually say, we can now keep FFG doing exactly what it is that XFG wants to do, while all these other companies that we're now part of will help us stand on these other feet in these other markets. So this was a terrific opportunity for us to actually, well, it may seem that we somehow diluted FFG, and we in fact strengthened our ability to focus on the type of games, the big, epic, narrative games. Which is that bullet point right there. It also improves our FFG, the distribution and marketing in Europe. We do a pretty good job here in the US. We put out lots of organized play, we put out a lot of demo kits. We have, of course, we try very hard to give you guys the best experience possible at GenCon. There are a lot of people, particularly in Europe, who want that same experience. And what the Asmodee Group is going to be able to help us do is to bring all that good stuff that we do here over to that continent. And of course, there's many practical behind-the-scenes improvements. You can probably understand that shipping is very expensive, for example, from China into the US, and if you're a bigger company, shipping more containers, just as an example, you can do things more effectively. So there's a lot of great reasons for this, and I cannot say how happy I am to be part of the group, and I really mean this. They're really, really great brothers and sisters for FFG over at Asmodee, and if you guys go look in the room, they have great, fantastic games, and we think we are a perfect match. So, what else did we do this year? We made a new website. To some people's horror and other people's delight. But we did. Our old website was really outdated. We had problems with when we get a lot of traffic, it would actually break down because the code base was actually so archaic. And we had to do something new. We had to do something that we felt would be able to support all the different messages that we wanted to give people. We also wanted something that was accessible to mobile devices, which obviously is a big deal today. We wanted something that was be easier to navigate, and also something that we could easier increment and build upon, because we want to add all this great stuff to our website, but the old technology didn't allow us to do that. We also needed something that was more secure, because when you have a game like this, you never know what you're going to encounter. We need better behind-the-scenes tools. We have great staff that are creating articles and create all sorts of good stuff for everybody that goes on the website, but they need the tools to do that more effectively. We're able to do that with that site. We're keeping up our upcoming page. That was an important tool for us to retain. I think a lot of people here, who uses the upcoming page? That is actually, I believe, it's our third most visited page. So there's the front page, I think it's the X-Wing main page, and then it's the upcoming page, right? So that was obviously a tool that people really like, and it's something that we actually take a lot of effort on. We go in and we try to maintain this as much as we possibly can to give you guys as much updated information about where are all these things at. And like I said before, we are really engaged to build more tools, to build player finders, retail finders, also the community tools into this site. That is part of our roadmap. Have patience with us. These kind of initiatives, take time to roll out, but we have a lot of great plans for our website. We launched Imperial Assault. That was a big event. Wow. We launched Xcom. And like I said before, I am really fascinated, and I'm really interested in how to marry a digital experience with a physical experience. I talked a lot about that last year, and I can tell you that Xcom for us is a phenomenal success. It's doing fantastic. And we do have several other projects where we're trying to push this type of system. Some people are worried about that, but of course, no way is this going to take over or overtake or just crush our normal game development. This is an R&D effort that we think you're going to see some unbelievably great stuff coming out using this kind of dual technology or physical versus digital. Star Wars Armada. Ooh, wow. This thing released about 4 months ago, and I didn't think we could beat Imperial Assault, but we did. So, you guys must like Star Wars, I guess. Wow. Forbidden Stars is a game that just came out 2 months ago, and to me, what I'm really proud of this game, of course, this was one of the games that we wanted to do when we first did the deal with Games Workshop about 6-7 years ago. And we worked on this for quite a while. And to me, it's a great game. Go demo it if you can. But to me, I'm really excited about part of it, because this game has part of the FFG DNA in it, where we're returning to this big, epic experience in a board game format. And we do a lot of different things. We can't always concentrate on one thing or the other, but I think Forbidden Stars has some of that DNA that we discovered in 2005. So if you want to see where our core has evolved from that point to now, Forbidden Stars is a great example. We, over the years, have published a lot of what we call Euro games. I really like a lot of these games, and there's some of these games that we thought we could bring back in a really spectacular new edition. FFG is not really known for Euro games, to be fair, so we invented this button called Gyro Classics. So everybody who don't like them can stay away, and everybody who normally and everybody who always stays away from FFG could maybe say, okay, maybe I'll get those Gyro Classics games. These are really fantastic, amazing games. I believe games is like meals. You have many different styles. There's many different experiences, and these are really, really great. I think we're premiering Samurai at the show. Isn't that right? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So that's here at the show. These are great games. Please check them out. So, what is new at GenCon? Those are our kind of experiences over the last year. I'm kind of zoning in on today. What's new? Living card games. Living card games were introduced, as you saw, in 2008, and they have been an incredible story for us. For games like Game of Thrones, games like Netrunner, Call of Cthulhu, a whole innovative type of product, LCG product with the Lord of the Rings Lcg. This is a category we truly believe in, and we're going to keep at, and we're going to keep improving. We're going to keep pushing it forward. This year, of course, we are premiering at the show, Game of Thrones 2nd edition. I believe it's sold out. Did it sell out? It's pretty so. I mean, it is, and that actually, by selling out, is now the officially most successful release at GenCon and FFG ever. Wow. We're also releasing a couple of playmats for the game. If you are curious about Game of Thrones, if you've never tried it, we're running demos at the show. There's also a number of tournaments. I'm not sure whether they're sold out or not. I'm sorry, they're sold out. Forget about the tournaments. But this is really special for us. Like I said, this is a game that sort of came from that car trip to GenCon, look at it, my buddy Alex reading this book, to this game today. And the team behind Game of Thrones have really outdone themselves. They have worked so hard for like almost a year and a half to distill, to improve, to take the experiences of running a game like Game of Thrones for over 10 years and make what we feel is our best ability to make a great LCG experience. So try it out if you have not. Let's talk about other games. Games like Red Planet. Bruno Faiduti is an old friend of mine, and we have published his Citadels game, as you saw, since 2003. And him and Bruno Cathala have created this amazing game. It was released by Asmodee, of all people, about 5 or 6 years ago. And we are now reintroducing it. We worked with Bruno to refine the game, and we're just really proud of how it looks. This is a super fun game. Check it out in the booth. Battlelore has had a big year. First, we released a Battlelore Command application last year, and we also announced a number of different expansions for this. Battlelore is really a great property. We are releasing different monsters, and we even are releasing a whole new faction for the game with the Undead, which people are very, very excited about. And I think you can see them you can see all of those beautiful Undead sculpts down in the booth. So, this is a very important game for us. Descent: Journeys into the Dark is probably one of our biggest game lines. And I'm very excited to talk a little bit about something new for descent today. In fact, we've been releasing some monster and hero packs for this line kind of continually over the last year, but today we're announcing that we are going to be doing a new expansion called Mists of Bilehall. We're introducing the undead and the undead realms, kind of taking a clue from the undead army in battle lore and bringing it in. So Mists of Bilehall is going to release late this year, and we're introducing that, and of course 3 lieutenant packs alongside of it. We don't have anything new for Star Wars Armada at the show, but I do encourage you to go in our display cases and see the previews that we're able to give you of Wave 2. I am absolutely blown away by those models. There's an Imperial Star Destroyer there that every reason that we had to make that game, and I helped design that game, was that I wanted to see an Imperial Star Destroyer on my table. And now we're very close to getting that Imperial Star Destroyer. Okay, I can't wait. Go check it out. They look just fantastic. So there's a preview at the booth for those. And we're also releasing a expansion for Eldritch Horror. Now, Eldritch Horror, as you may know, is our sister product to Arkham Horror, where you're basically exploring the world. And that game has just been phenomenal for us. I say phenomenal a lot. And so it really is not all sales pitch. It really is true. We have an embarrassment of riches. But Eldritch Horror has been huge for us. It has been so great. We keep selling out of the expansions of the core game, and that's why I'm pretty excited to talk about a new product today for Eldritch Horror. So we've had a couple of expansions for that, and last year I announced that you had a chance to go down to the Arctic in the Mountains of Madness, and today let's go to the sands, the deserts of Egypt, and with Under the Pyramids. This is an expansion, it's a big expansion that introduces another sideboard. Does anybody here play Eldritch Horror? Has there played Eldritch Horror? So one of the things that was a problem, I guess, with Arkham Horror was that when you started adding all the expansions together, they kind of became too much. There was too much. You don't have enough table space. All the boards were simply causing the game to be too long. We've introduced some really neat mechanics called the prelude mechanics that when you start playing a game of Eldritch Horror, using the prelude mechanic, it's actually gamifying what expansions you'll use and what sideboards you'll use and so on, which we think will allow you to own all these expansions and experience them in kind of a varied way that actually allows the game not to sort of become overdone and overbloated. Under the Pyramids, coming late this year. So back on the role-playing. As you know, role-playing for us, for many, many years we've been doing it, and we had such excitement, and we were so honored that little comic book publisher could do the role-playing game for Star Wars. We thought long and hard about, of course, how to do that, and we looked at all the boards and read what people wanted, and of course what we really found out is that everybody wants different things out of the Star Wars universe, which is great. So we decided that instead of making one big encompassing tome for Star Wars, that we would split the experience into the 3 archetype experiences that we believe that universe really kind of has to offer, which is, of course, the edge of the Empire, your scum and villainy, your flawed heroes, your smugglers, and your kind of roguish adventures. Then there is the Age of which we published with Edge of the Empire. Then you're getting into Age of Rebellion, which, of course, is more the martial experiences. It's covert missions, it's military ships, dogfights, battleships, and so on. And that last experience, that last thing that makes Star Wars so special is, of course, the Force. Jedi. Really happy to say that at this show, Force and Destiny is out, and the cycle is complete at last. It's great. Force and Destiny. We hope you'll check these out. So if you're only interested in one of those categories, then we have a whole portfolio and a whole amazing line of products to discover just that section of Star Wars. But if you're interested in Star Wars as a whole, the line is designed that you can basically get everything and you can customize Star Wars in the kind of flavor that you want. It's been designed very meticulously to do that. So that's the Star Wars role-playing. Imperial Assault. We are actually premiering a whole bunch of stuff for Imperial Assault at the show. Due to a strange contractual issue, we actually cannot sell it in our booth, but fortunately one of our partners, Adventure Retail, is able to premiere all of these Imperial Assault SKUs. We're really, really happy with them. So this is the Twin Shadows expansion, is at the show, and one of the things that I've been asked most about the show, other than why is it not in our booth, is what's next for Imperial Assault, and I want to tell you about that today. There is a whole bunch of expansion packs that we've announced already. These are going to be great. They're both playable in the campaign, and of course what makes Imperial Assault unique is that there's also a skirmish game in it, which really makes it a small miniatures game where you can fight, you can put together a task group of different characters, different abilities, and you're putting that together against an opponent, you're playing a head-to-head match. So it's both kind of a big, broad, huge, epic scale role-playing adventure game, and it's a skirmish head-to-head game. And so we are releasing these individual packs, partially to give you more inserted material to the campaign, but also to give you more grit, more options for your skirmish game. So that's coming, those are coming next month. I'm sorry, in September. Usually GenCon is in August. It's really weird that we're in July. Anyway, and another small wave that we announced are also coming late this year. But what's really exciting is the next major release for Imperial Assault. And we try not to be predictable, but in this case we just couldn't not be. We had to go back to Hoth. So we are going to be releasing this fall Return to Hoth. Okay, this is a big box. It is a full campaign. It is as big, as broad, as epic as a campaign in the core set. It has lots of new sculpts and miniatures. They will all be on display 1 hour later, at 1 hour after we're done here today, and it's going to be down in the booth. And I am excited to show you those Wampas and special speeders and everything that we have in that box. If you play Imperial Assault, I hope you're as excited as I am about this. It's going to be great. What would... You guys like X-Wing? Wow. What would a modern day FFG in-flight report be without some nice, cool stuff for X-Wing? And I'm going to deliver that today for you. So, X-Wing. I stopped. The Raider flew away. Here we go. We are, of course, premiering the Imperial Raider at the show. It has been an incredible experience for us to not only be able to make a ship that big and that cool, but this is also a ship that we worked hand in hand with Lucasfilm on, designing the narrative, the look, the scope of this actual ship. So this industry, us, you guys, have put this ship into the Star Wars universe. Happy flying. Stop. I'm too trigger happy. There we go. So we're also, of course, releasing X-Wing Wave 7, which gives you more stuff for the Scum and Villainy faction. It gives you a couple more. It gives you the I think it's a TIE Punisher for the Imperials, and the K-Wing. We got a lot of critique on the K-Wing because it's a weird-looking ship. I think it's great. I disagree. You should guys go check this out. It is cool. Okay, I know you want to talk about the new stuff. Let's do that. So. X-Wing, of course, is very important to us. X-Wing is by far our biggest product line. And so we take this product line extremely seriously. And so one of the things that's very important to us is finding out what do we do next? What more kind of ships can we do? Because it is a finite universe, there's a finite amount of stuff out there. We want to bring you the best we can. Which is why it was really great for us that there's some new stuff coming for Star Wars. Specifically, there was a TV show called Rebels that made this little guy famous. The Imperial Assault Carrier. So this is a big ship. You will have seen it if you see the Rebels TV show. Anybody seen the Rebels TV show? It's pretty great, yeah. Okay, and there are 2 TIE fighters that come with that, so there's going to be a lot more cards and cool stuff for your TIE fighters. What's really cool about the ship, actually, you don't see that in this picture, but those TIE fighters, plus 2 other TIE fighters, if you have them, will actually socket up underneath the actual ship. So there are rules. And I believe we have rules for actually allowing those to be in play. So you actually see them. I think Anton's down there. It's all ready to go. So this will be on display with the socketed TIE fighters. We're really excited about that. So that's some good news for X-Wing. Except I got more stuff for you. Wave 8. Wave 8. I don't know what's wrong with my remote. It wants to go too fast. Wave 8, we're going to be releasing Wave 8 this year, or very, very, very early next year. We're not 100% sure. Wave 8 is coming, I hope, in late November, early December, and they're going to be 4 ships. We're going to be doing 2 ships that are famous for being the ships of the bounty hunters, and I think this would complete the cycle of the bounty hunter ships. The Mist Hunter. The Mist Hunter is who flies the Mist Hunter again? I forget.
Zuckuss.
Yes, one of the bounty hunters fly it. I'm sorry, Zuckuss. And the other one is the punishing one. All right. So we'll have 2 awesome Scum and Villainy ships coming to you in Wave 8. We also have the Inquisitor's tie. As you see from Rebels, this is a new tie, special tie construct that was made for the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor was one of the characters from the Rebels TV show. Of course, when we talk about the Rebels TV show, probably the most iconic ship in the Rebels TV show is this guy. This thing is going to be fantastic. I've seen the model, it's on display down there, and what's really cool about this is that if you know the TV show, you know that the Ghost has a little attachment ship called the Phantom. And this box was shipped with the Ghost and with the Phantom. And the team has worked really hard on creating some really exceptional rules that actually integrate the idea that the Phantom and the Ghost are a team. And so I really hope that you love not only the look of this ship, but how it flies and how uniquely we've tried to integrate the game design with the idea of a mothership and its little child. So, what do you think?
Yeah!
Great. X-Wing. Well, let's move on. Well, there it is again. Wave 8. I think I say early 2016 here. We are hoping to get out at the end of the year, but you have to forgive us if we may get it slightly late. There's some other important stuff going on that we're dealing with at the factory that I can't tell you about today. So therefore, I'm going to be talking about some new games. We have 3 games that we've been working on for quite a long time, and I'm really proud of them. The first game we already did announce, which was, here we go. We announced it a couple of days ago, which is our new version of Fury Dracula. Okay? This is a fantastic game. We are demoing this game in the booth, and every response I'm getting is that they are blown away by, first of all, this fantastic game. People had never tried it before, but I'm very, very proud of what we've done to actually make this an even better Fury Dracula. If you have played Fury Dracula in the past and you're skeptical of what we have done, I dare you, go get that demo. It is really great. So we are going to be putting this out in the fall. Some people may hope for Halloween. I hope for Halloween, but it'll probably be slightly later than that. There we go. So Fury Dracula, very excited about that. Another product that we're very, very excited about is this little guy. Like I said, we have a very, very important long-term relationship with Games Workshop, and we have been working on many, many different things over the years. And one of the things that I'm excited about is the popularity and an enduring love for Warhammer Quest. We have worked with a couple of designers, actually some ex-employees I think are here today. Hey, Brady's, how are you? These guys, yes, they deserve an applause, please. The Brady's. We have an awesome game experience for Warhammer Quest. We call it Warhammer Quest Adventure Card Game. Okay, this is going to be a, I believe, $39.95 card game, and it is going to be a game where you have a hero in the old world, and you're going to be taking that hero through a whole campaign. And I think there's 2 campaigns in the box, you basically go through the entire campaign. It's a collaborative game, and it is challenging. It is a very challenging game. Very excited about Warhammer Quest. We're excited about giving our Vantage Flight logo on such a novel and amazing property. So that is going to be demoed today. It'll be displayed in the display cases, and as we speak, or maybe shortly in a couple minutes, as soon as he gets there, the demo tables will be rolled out. Okay, so if you want to try Warhammer Quest adventure card game, we got it for you. So that's coming late this year, and the next announcement I'm pretty excited about, because as we have done so many science fiction games, and as we've got involved in so many successful licenses, and I know that you like X-Wing, there are a few games that from our past that mean a lot to us, and that we worked on a very, very long time to try to, get back into the light. So let's bring Runebound back. Okay. Runebound is the #1 most requested reprint that FFG gets. We wanted to do it right, so we've been working on this for a long time. Runebound has been reimagined almost from the grassroots. We try to keep all the aspects of Runebound that really made it, really gave its identity, but we took everything else and said, no sacred cows, let's make this new version of Runebound the best possible adventure board game that we could make. And I'm really excited about some of the innovations that we put into this. I'm not going to go over that for too much longer because we do have to end. I want to get some questions in, but I'm very, very excited about this. It is also going to be demoed as soon as Anton gets back to the booth. So, some people, I'm sure, are wondering what's going on with this. And what's going on with that is that I can't tell you anything about it for a short while longer. I am very excited about what we have going on in this particular little ditty, but the secrecy and the level of death imposed upon me, if I tell you anything about this right now, is enormous. So have a little more patience on this ground. This is the third show where I'm just going tease, tease, tease. Some of this stuff is coming. I wish I did not have to, but we have product on the water. It's coming, and you will know when it hits. That's all I can say. So, all right, guys. I will now be happy to take questions. Yes, sir.
Are you running with the same release schedule that Hasbro runs for the mass market toys?
The question was, are we running the same release schedule as the mass market toy? I can tell you that the first product that we have for Star Wars: The Force Awakens will be available at the first opportune moment that we're allowed to release, including Hasbro's release schedule. So I can't give you any details, but if you're interested in waiting in a midnight queue for Toy Day, Star Wars Toy Day, then there may be something awesome for you there.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? No questions? There's 600 people here. There must be more questions. Yes. Yes. Like I said, we don't really talk about things that are not announced. We do not currently have a license relationship with Blizzard. They are good friends of ours. We had it for a while. Of course, if you have played Forbidden Stars, you'll know that some of the key mechanics came from StarCraft that we kept. So our vision for that probably is more in the Forbidden Stars realm now. And we'd love to work with Blizzard again someday, but there's no current relationship. Yep. Any other questions? Yes.
Worlds, the sign-up was such a frenzy, especially for X-Wing, calling it round 0, 45 minutes sold out.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's plans for next year. A lot of great players not going to be able to make it. So
I'm going to defer that. So the question was that we have our World Championship for X-Wing, and this event sold out very quickly, which obviously is a good thing. But I think the question specifically is, well, how do I get in if it sells out in 45 minutes? I'm going to defer this question to Steve Horvath, who's actually in charge of our organized play program. Do you want to take this on, Steve? No? He doesn't want to take this on.
Yes, we're aware about what happened this year with Worlds. We had some constraints with the space and the size. We also have some ideas on how to improve the sign up for next year. And at Worlds this year, I will have announcements about what's going on for all of 2016 for organized play, including what we're going to do to expand and improve Worlds. All right, but I can't say anything about it yet.
I think it's also worthwhile mentioning that our vision for Worlds is to have a really unique special event, okay, and not to make it as big as possible, but to make it as great as possible. So I think, as long as X-Wing keeps hopping like you guys are making it, that there may always be some constraints to it. But we are also trying to introduce ways via the regionals or the nationals to actually create tickets for anybody who wins those to actually get a guaranteed entry to the Worlds. So certainly one way to get there would be, isn't that correct, Steve? Would be to attend the nationals, regionals, etc. Because if you win a regional, you have a guaranteed spot. Okay? Any other questions? Yes?
With all the titles that you have and all the popularity of this, the first day they had like a huge line that just went crazy. Do you guys ever think of possibly making a fantasy flight convention?
Todd is our convention manager. I think it would kill him. I don't think. I think he would leave. Todd actually is my longest serving employee. Back when we were even doing comic books, Todd was helping me out, and he's been with us for 19 years. And I don't know where he is. Is he here, Todd? We've floated that idea from time to time. We have a lot of games that people would like to see be more engaged in, similarly to where we are with our competitive games. I can only tell you that it is a substantial task, and it's something that we are considering, but I can't promise anything. So. Yes?
Your Force of Destiny core book pulls a lot of, if nothing else, art from a lot of different eras and storylines of the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can't speak about future projects, but is this sort of the answer to those who would like things like the Old Republic?
All right. That's a good question. Like I said, I can't speak about future products, but I can tell you that in terms of delving into other eras and ancient periods and the Clone Wars and so on, that we're being reasonably conservative right now because there's so much change going on in the universe. And we think in a very positive way, but as LFL is delving back into the Star Wars property and they are delivering amazing stuff, there's going to be a movie basically every year. They are, with us basically trying to figure out what is the best way to delve into various parts of the Star Wars IP. And since there's so much change on a really high level, there's a little bit of, I think, hesitation on ours and their part just to not jump yet before we know which is the best place to go. So, I hope that answers your question, however cryptically. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
When can we expect to see Wave 7 and the Raider is on store shelves?
I believe in about 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5, depending on where you live. In the U.S., the Europe, the sales manager is not here. In Europe, it may be a few weeks later. We generally try to do a worldwide simultaneous release, which typically works within a couple of weeks or so. So, should be here quick. Yes?
You talked about merging with Asmodee to get more games into Europe. Do you have any plans to merge with something to get more games into Asia?
Good question. The question here was, our union with Asmodee creates a very strong link from Europe and the U.S. The missing part of the world, really, he's right, is Asia. What are the plans for Asia? Asia is interesting, man. Asia is a huge place, and it's state the obvious, huh? But it's so different. Selling a game in China, or selling a game in Japan, or selling a game in Korea. I mean, these are almost as different as Europe and the U.S. are much more similar, really, to any, even those territories within, comparing Japan and China, hugely different, right? So trying to sort of solve Asia as like one solution, one merger, or whatever, is not really, to me, the same. To me, the issue is more like how do we join with a Japan, a partner or several partners in Japan to grow gaming in Japan. The style of gaming that we do in Japan, as an example, is not very big. We do a good business in Japan, but the Japanese are really into the TCG model, right? So we're working with partners to truly incubate and create conventions such as this that actually generates excitement for these type of games. South Korea is probably the nation in Asia that is most similar to us and has a really huge following for board games. And we're sort of hoping that some of that geist in South Korea will grow into China, grow into Japan, and into smaller countries there. Definitely as a business, I mean, we have to look at Asia and saying, how can we get these guys to buy lots of games? That there's no, I can't announce any merger, of course, between any Asian company, but it is something that we would love to explore more. Does that answer your question? Now you also know that Asia is big. Yes, yes sir.
I'm curious, you talked a little bit about worlds, and I realize space is a consideration for an event like GenCon as well.
Yep.
But for so many folks in our local gaming groups that get used to games like Armada and Xcom,
Right.
they love them immediately because of the Star Wars tie-in.
Right.
By the time you get around to telling them, hey, let's go to GenCon, let's do this, they can't get in any events. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm curious is if there's any intentional thought to, rather than having the championship level events, running things a la Untitled Magic, like booster drafts on the side, where you can just get 8 people together and run off and do a little organized play tournament.
It's a very difficult question. The question is basically, we have so many people that want to get into this hobby, want to get into these Star Wars games, and we're talking about space restraints at Worlds, we're talking about space restraints at GenCon, and I think the real problem is space restraint, right? I mean, we work, Steve especially, very, very hard to capture as much real estate area, of the GenCon tournament hall as we possibly can. And it's really not, I mean, there's a lot of companies that need that space, that want that space, and there's a lot of games out there that want to be, promoted and sold, and we're just one of many. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a little bit like, how does GenCon grow? The success of GenCon has blown me away, and the rise of just popularity in our style of games is just fantastic. So we have a tiger by the tail. How do we create more capacity? I don't have an answer to that question. I wish I did. I know they were always trying to do more events and more stuff. Yeah, try, Steve. Steve has an answer to your question.
So as Christian said, there is some real space constraints here that we're dealing with. We're looking at different ways that we can address the space as a whole and what those events will look like beyond just championship events. I can't tell you what the exact nature of those events are going to be, but we are looking at non-championship events for GenCon specifically, not for Worlds. Worlds is for high-level competition. We're also looking at other venues, other different types of community interaction that doesn't have to quite be a championship level event. Right now we have this kind of inverted pyramid that Christian has showed in presentations before, starting from the basic tournament level at stores, going clear down to world championships. Later in the fall, I'll be ready to announce some different types of events that break outside of that structure, that give you more ways to interact with games like X-Wing, Imperial Assault, Armada, things that are very big immersive games that take a lot of space from these types of events, in different ways players can engage them in a more casual basis. So does that help answer your question? Wherever that question came from. Yeah, it did? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, right.
Yeah, Steve, what you said about expanding space, what about using Vassal, having Fantasy Flight and Vassal combined to do a online tournament for, say, X-Wing? If you're familiar, forgive me, not familiar with the platform.
Yeah. Do you like how he stepped away from that question there? So we're working very hard behind the scenes, trying to figure out the best way, if there's a way, and what that way might look like from a digital space. There's really nothing else I can say about that today, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Easier questions, please. Gentleman with the orange shirt.
Right now, LCG has around 5 to 6 LCGs.
Yes.
Is that by design, or do you think you're going to move forward by adding more and more LCGs to that?
I think there's a limit to how many quality LCDs we can maintain. Are we done? Maybe, maybe not. But I definitely do not foresee a world where we have 20 LCGs. It's simply not realistic. We have to try to make an LCG has to be unique, has to be special, has to have a certain identity to actually, I think, be relevant. So if you get too many, you're just going to have probably LCGs that are going to compete with each other for either IP, theme, mechanics, and so on. So definitely no, there is no vision for unlimited, endless number of LCGs. I think we are getting close to probably landing on the number that we think is right. Yeah. There was a question over here.
Yeah, is it important for you guys at GenCon to actually be in the cement floor halls? Or have you guys looked at moving into hotel spaces that you can control the message, the feel, maybe have more space? Is that proximity to the dealer room important for your business model? Or are the hotels too restrictive and too off-site for you guys to maintain your image?
That's a good question. Steve? I mean,
Steve, stay up there.
I will, yeah, exactly. One thing that is important for us, obviously, is that we like to expose our games to other people. And if I were to hide away all of our awesome-looking X-Wing fleets and all the cool things that's happening into a hotel room just for us, I think we'd be missing out on capturing new players, getting excited about what they see. So that's certainly a consideration in terms of any other thoughts, Steve.
So what? Chris stole my thunder a little bit about the exposure of the games and the rooms hidden away, but that is definitely a concern, right? We want to make sure one of the appeals of organized play, for example, is for people to see how robust a community there is playing the game. And so when we're running events in the main hall and people come by and they see 200 people playing X-Wing or 250 people playing Netrunner, it gives them confidence that if that's a game they're going to get into, that there's going to be a big community of people to play with. That being said, I just talked about other different types of interactive events that you could do with these games, and we're looking at a lot of different venues and resources to use for that. I have my first meeting with GenCon tomorrow to talk about 2016 and beyond, and we're exploring a lot of different options. I can't promise anything about rooms and hotels, but we are looking at a lot of different options on how we can expand our overall space and how we can deliver some different play experiences.
There was another question for Steve, I believe. Somebody told me to stay. Is there a question for Steve? This way you'll sit down.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that for me? Say.
So I wanted to kind of address questions about nationals in other countries, mainly Canada, and how PUBG sees how it's handled and maybe the health of certain games, by the way, it's located and things like that. Maybe bringing it back, maybe take control of the game or the distribution of that.
Well,
so that it's healthier for the game.
I can tell you that we're working with Lion Rampant very closely, and that going forward from 2016 and beyond, we will be working with them hand in hand about for nationals and for regionals about where those events are going to be and how they're going to be structured. So there's a much stronger relationship going forward next year. We haven't said something about that publicly, but I can tell you that is happening, and we will be involved in that. Yeah. Anything else for me while I'm up here? Okay. All right. Good. No, is that for me? Okay. Should I just run an OP one and events one next year separately from this? Would that be helpful? Yes, sir. What can I do for you? Well, as Christian said, actually, I'm the one who won't let anybody talk about future products or releases, so I'm afraid you're not going to trick me with that question. But it was a nice try, though. Thank you.
So in Conquest, there is the Alliance wheel, and in the Alliance wheel, there are the different factions, and there was a Tyranid icon in that wheel, and we just released a Tyranid box. There's also a Necron icon in that wheel, and you can make your own conclusions. So, yes, down the corner. Yeah.
Chris, that's where a lot of big companies have been getting into the Kickstarter idea. Have you had any thoughts in trying to delve into that, get more, community in with?
This is a good question. So the question is, with the Kickstarter revolution that's happening, what is our vision on that, and will we engage in that? Tough question. Is Kickstarter the meteor that'll kill the dinosaurs? Is it a passing star? We don't really know. We do know that we have a strong commitment to the marketplace that helps us bring our games out in the world, our retail partners, our distribution partners. And Kickstarter generally is being used right now by most publishers as a pre-order vehicle. And we're not interested in using that as a pre-order vehicle. If we felt at some point that we had an idea that was so new and different and crazy that our current existing business infrastructure would probably just spit it out because it was too weird. And we felt we needed to go to you guys and say, hey guys, isn't this cool? Do you agree? Do you want to support that? Then we would do that, but probably not until that day, because to me that is the right tool for that, and we are able to get our games out in the marketplace in other ways and take a pre-order and Kickstarter. Does that make sense? Awesome. Yes?
Well, I know you can't comment on any future releases.
Yes.
Games Workshop has made some pretty significant shakeups to the Warhammer world and lore.
Right.
Are you in any way talking to them about making changes to existing Warhammer games you're publishing or using that lore in the future?
We're always talking to them about this. Yes, there has been a significant change. What you're probably referring to is a change in Warhammer Fantasy. So, first of all, number one is that I think to make very clear, we do not believe the old world is going away as an IP. Just like Middle-earth as an ended narrative is not going away as an IP. We think there's so much wealth, so much exciting narrative, so much character in the old world as an IP that should be able to live and stand on its own, and we are going to support it just like we're doing with Warhammer Quest, for example. They're of course they turned the page in that IP, and they're basically introduced the Age of Sigmar, and we're really impressed by what they're doing. I mean, the craftsmanship and the narrative that's going into the Age of Sigmar is fantastic. And I can tell you that we are intending to work with Games Workshop as long as we can. But in terms of specific plans, ideas, that's just not something I can talk about. All right, guys. 2 more questions. Yes, in the middle right here.
In InFlight, the Xcom section is another interesting name for ships.
Yes.
Tell us about
Steve. The question was, the Scum faction has some interesting names for ships, and he would like some assistance on how to pronounce them. No, I can't help you. I don't know. Kirax fighter, maybe. And this is a good question. We should maybe ask LFL and do like a little audio blip on our site. You know the answer? He knows the answer. Well, which ship are you talking about specifically? It's a very difficult question. I'll tell you what, this is Steve. Steve will be in our booth later. Why don't you come down and talk to him about this, these names? Great question. Okay, guys, one more question. Let's see, maybe from the back this time. Gentleman in the black. Yes.
I'm not going to ask about if more is coming, but can you tell us how the health of the game is, sales-wise and proliferation of tournament scene?
We have a great community for the Star Wars LCG. Yes, it does get a little maybe a little overwhelmed by X-Wing, for example. We just released the Imperial Entanglements box, and it is one of the better selling LCGs that we have. It is not our least and lowest, and we have no plans to not be as excited about that as we would otherwise have of any other LCGs. So they're very excited about it. And I believe that the tournaments that we're having here are well attended and doing well. So we are very happy with it. Does that answer your question? Good. Awesome. Guys, I really, really appreciate you coming in. Thank you. I'm going to be up here in the next 10 minutes or so. If you have any personal questions you want to ask me or Steve, whatever, we'll hang around for a little bit. Okay, guys? Thank you very much.